Toulouse Mutualité vous présente l'interview de 18h d'Objectif News.
Bonsoir et bienvenue au Club Éco spécial Vinexpo. Ce soir nous recevons Richard Halstead, il est cofondateur et directeur des opérations pour Wine Intelligence, une compagnie de recherche marketing et stratégique sur l'industrie du vin. So you are co-founder and chief of operations for Wine Intelligence, a market research and strategy company focused on the global wine industry.
That's right.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
So on Vinexpo you were part of a seminar about the innovations in retailing around the globe.
That's correct. Yes.
Can you tell me more about these new trends of consuming wines?
Well, I think, first of all, it's important to see that retail of wine is probably undergoing a greater change than it ever has experienced in the past, say, 20 or 30 years. And it's chiefly technology driven. But it's also driven by changes in the way consumers want to interact with the wine category. So one of the ways in which consumers want to change their interaction with the wine category is they want to really understand it better and to be able to feel comfortable buying and consuming wine. And the innovations that we've been cataloguing for this project that we did for Vinexpo are really about engaging, connecting and making people feel more reassured about the category.
Okay, so and what are these innovations you're talking about?
Well, I think that they start with some old-fashioned retail ideas and they also have some very new ideas. So I'll do the old-fashioned ones first. The key with retail is making sure that your consumer understands and feels happy in the environment that they find themselves in. And there are some modern ways in which retailers are doing that very old-fashioned thing. So modern ways will include having an online relationship that encourages people to interact more with the store. So inviting them to do virtual tastings and then bringing them into store for real tastings. Having them meet winemakers through maybe a YouTube video and then having them come to the store to meet them in person. So it's that combination of the old-fashioned idea of being friends with your customers, really, and using the new technology like the online web video streaming, that sort of thing, to maintain that connection.
Okay, so unitourism can be a new way of buying and consuming wines. It's
and obviously those relationships that retailers look to build in store can continue online and in a transactional relationship online as well. And that's what we're seeing now increasingly in the retail space, where retailers that have had bricks and mortar for many years are now being much more astute about developing their transactional online offers. And they're finding that, contrary to conventional wisdom, when you sell something online, it's actually not the cheapest price people are looking for. It's the product that they are particularly interested in that they're looking for. So products with good stories, products that have some kind of interesting or new element to them. And what we're seeing in reality is that people tend to spend much more when they're buying online than when they're buying in a store. Which is somewhat counterintuitive, isn't it?
Yeah, so quality and marketing are two axes of developing wines, sell wines.
Yeah, and I think it all starts really with the retailer and indeed the suppliers to the retailers understanding who the customer is, why they might want to be there, or indeed what would motivate them to come to the store. And not really being complacent about the fact that the customer will come, whether they do make an effort or not. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And what are the most growing markets actually on the wine industry and the wine markets?
I think probably the most interesting markets are not necessarily the ones that are growing the fastest, but the fastest growing ones are still very interesting. So if I deal with them separately.
Yeah.
So fastest growing markets, generally speaking, nowadays are in Asia,
Yeah.
and to a certain extent in South America as well, and also sub-Saharan Africa. Of all of those, Asia is probably the most interesting for the wine industry at the moment. And it's here, interestingly, that the online relationship is probably growing faster than any other channel. We predict that around half of Chinese wine consumers who buy imported wine will have bought wine online within the next 5 years. And that's not a pie in the sky notion, because 500 million Chinese consumers own mobile internet devices, and around the same number have bought something online over the past, say, 5 or 6 years. So you're talking about a group of people who are coming through the system, young, technology savvy, who are very happy with the idea of buying online.
Yeah, so you were talking about sub-Saharan Africa,
Yes.
Which can be the next most interesting.
A lot of people are interested in this.
Because
Go on, sorry.
It's growing and it's developing faster, and it's going to be interesting for wine markets.
I think eventually, yes. I think you see, first of all, that you've got significant populations of potential consumers in those countries. The key problem right now is that there isn't the wealth there that would justify people being interested in the kind of products that our industry sells. But we can see that world is developing, and there are obviously a lot of ifs in sub-Saharan Africa. If political stability can be achieved, if economic development can proceed in the way that I think a lot of people would like to see, and if as a consequence of that, we as an industry can make the wine experience relevant to people in those countries.
Okay, nice. That was interesting, and thank you for answering our questions. And merci à tous de nous avoir suivis pour le Club Éco spécial Vinexpo. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Toulouse Mutualité vous a présenté l'interview de 18h d'Objective News.